Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Bitcoin price prediction based on Elliott wave analysis. Starting here on the weekly chart, of course a quick overview. Where are we? We have a 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 5. We finished a wave 1 or a wave A after both case scenarios. You would like to see ABC corrective wave. This is where you have finished your wave 2 or your wave B. After this, you would like to see an impulse toward the upside, which it was our latest bull run here, where we finish a big wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Currently, we finished, of course, a wave 5, we finished a wave 1, and we are right now in the wave A for, of course, a correction here, where we are expecting a 3-wave corrective toward the downside to finish a wave 2 here between the fib levels, potentially 0.23, 0.38. Your minimum requirement normally is 0.38, which is 51K. However, when we are in Bitcoin in a wave 3, which is your orange, of a wave 3, which is the blue one, 3/3, meaning the most, of course, explosive and massive move toward the upside. And we're looking, of course, for a very, very shallow wave 2. Normally, this is a characteristic only for Bitcoin, where it might, of course, hit in the middle, of course, of the 0.23 and 0.38. And of course, as you can see in confluence, we have the very, very strong support area here that Bitcoin might face, of course, in order to move towards the upside again very impulsively. If we take a closer look on the daily chart here, we can see, of course, we have finished the wave 5 of the wave 1 here, the main wave 1 that we saw, of course, on the weekly, and this wave 5 has finished, of course, after a wave 4 in, of course, wave 4 WXY. Your wave Y finished, of course, in a triangle or potentially a truncated flat. Both case scenario gives you double 1-2s. We finished 3, 4, 5, 4 and a 5. We finished this bull run. And currently we have finished 3 waves for your wave A. Meaning right now, if we zoom in inside this area, we are looking, of course, for a wave B. This wave B has to take a little bit more time here because the time required for your wave A, of course, is very much longer. Now, potentially that we reach the minimum requirement time for this wave B, but preferably that we still, of course, have one more wave toward the upside to reach even the perfect time as well for wave B. Meaning we are looking right now for 3 waves down and we're seeking 3 waves up. Now those 3 waves up where we had, of course, a very sharp zigzag are very, very shallow. We have, of course, after it 3 waves down, and currently potentially we're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a leading diagonal formation for a wave 1. We're gonna see this, of course, much more closer, and what are the possibility of this wave B to unfold in the next days. The most possible scenario on the 4-hour chart here that we saw in our deep analysis also in the weekend, we saw, of course, that we might have, of course, a wave C towards the upside hitting the blue box here, 1.38 and 1.618 between the 100K and 105K. And this, of course, will test again potentially the 100K and then moving toward the downside towards a wave C. And as you can see, we have, of course, reached right now the 0.38 at fib time, which is a minimum requirement. However, preferably is to enter, of course, the blue zone between the 0.618 and the 1-to-1 fib time taken from the wave A here, and of course to see a bigger wave B unfolding before we moving massively for a wave C toward the downside. So this is the most possible scenario right now. Of course, we are potentially looking at a leading diagonal toward the upside 4 and a 5 to finish, of course, inside this blue box. The second possible scenario is a bigger or longer in time WX and a Y. So we're looking here at potentially your wave A. Your wave B, of course, might be an A, B, and a C toward the upside, finishing the W, because of course your wave B is allowed to be a big W, X, and a Y. W, X, and a Y. Your X, of course, can be also anything. It can be a zigzag, it can be a flat, it can be a triangle, it can be even another complex structure that can be, of course, WX and a Y as well. So basically, it is the most complicated wave that we might face later on after finishing a wave W. Highest possibility that your wave W is an expanding flat, looking of course at this wave B here after 3 waves up, 3 waves down, taking the low, meaning of course perfectly with the fib level for a wave B in an expanding flat, meaning we're looking at 1, 2, 1, 2 potentially, or a leading diagonal as big, wave 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and a 5 to finish a wave C in a big expanding flat here. However, this might finish, of course, your wave W, and after it, we might start even get much more choppiness and much more corrective waves for a long time, guys, and then moving, of course, massively towards the downside after finishing a W, X, and a Y. So these are the possibilities right now. Of course, there is a possibility for the bearish as well, where we might, of course, not move towards the upside so far. And we saw yesterday's this, of course, during the weekend due to the drop that we saw. But potentially, if we move directly from here, therefore you are seeking potentially for deeper fib levels. As you can see, this wave B here, if we are in a wave B expanding flat, 3 waves up, 3 waves down, the wave B has hit perfectly the 1.05, but don't forget this is an uncommon target. The most common targets are the green one here with the 1.23, 1.38. So potentially we are still estimating, of course, those blue box potentially that your wave B can be an X. Yeah, don't forget it's a wave B, the most complicated structure that you might have can be a W, X, and a Y, yeah, and of course hitting this area first, and then moving again toward the upside for a wave C, of course, with lower targets than 100K. This is a possibility where you can see, of course, a drop toward the downside, right, a red drop, or another possibility can be, of course, finishing an ending diagonal here for, of course, 3 ways up, 3 ways down. Ending diagonal might finish, of course, a running flat here, and moving directly toward the downside, meaning your wave B totally has finished potentially here, and especially that we have passed the 0.38 fib time right now. After a running flat, you would like to see, of course, a very massive drop toward the downside for a wave C directly. So we have to be careful, of course, and estimate the situation inside this area step by step, and to evaluate if we are going for a deeper wave B or finishing an ending diagonal potentially and then moving towards the downside massively for a wave C to finish, of course, 3-wave corrective. Don't forget that those 3-wave corrective can turn into a longer correction in overall, meaning it doesn't have to be like, of course, ABC and we finish this bear market. It can take even a much more longer time for 3 waves towards the upside again, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again to reach even a lower and deeper prices, of course, for Bitcoin. Currently on the 1-hour chart, we are estimating 2 bullish scenarios. Those 2 bullish scenarios, of course, we're talking here about a short-term bullish scenarios where we might have a double 1-2 after, of course, having here a leading diagonal potential and having an ABC, and of course an impulse towards the upside where you might cut even another ABC as a wave 2. You would like even to reach the perfect fib levels for a wave 2 and continuation toward the upside. So potentially we are moving in double 1-2s here, 3, 4, 5, 4, and a 5. Potentially, of course, to hit the blue box with the perfect time as well and the perfect fib, finishing, of course, this expanding flat wave C and then moving for a longer wave C toward the downside, of course. Another possibility is that what if we are in a big leading diagonal here or ending diagonal? We have to be careful because in both case scenario it can work, of course. Leading and ending, because ending, of course, can be 3 ways up, 3 ways down, and finishing an ending diagonal can turn into a running flat, which is a rare case scenario, but of course everything is possible during these times. And now, of course, if we finish a leading diagonal, which can be your wave 1, you can expect, of course, wave 2 later on, and moving 3, 4, and a 5 toward the upside, yeah, to finish again between the perfect fib times, and of course to hit the perfect fib levels. So we're gonna watch what's gonna happen, of course, closer. Currently, we are looking at this wave 2 that it might be finished as a very complex structure here. Yesterday we saw very weird price action here, and very choppy, and potentially this is of course a WXY for a wave 2. A good signal for bullish is of course taking this high. We would like to see this high taken and see continuation toward the upside. As mentioned yesterday in the live stream, we would like to see of course this high taken and continuation, and of course yeah, we would like to see the wave 3 unfolding, right? Because if you are in 1212, you would like to see continuation toward the upside to take of course already this high, just to confirm at least that we are bullish. But this did not happen yet, so we have to be careful, and the time taking here for this wave 2, in case we are in wave 2, is getting longer and longer. If we just take a quick look here on the 15-minute chart, we can see on the 15-minute chart, yeah, there is nothing really impulsive. I see here just 3 waves toward the upside, which is not also good signal for continuation towards higher. So potentially we are moving still in sideways, or potentially moving directly towards the downside with the scenario that I have mentioned for a deeper wave B in W, X, and Y. We have to watch, of course, this zone as well, where we might, of course, have a very choppy wave B to reach, of course, these fib levels, and then moving toward the upside for a wave C. That was it for Bitcoin. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.